Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
You know that feeling when you've been waiting all summer long for the Sixers to finally get it right, and yet something's still missing? That one move that makes you ask yourself, why is this taking so long? Well, I've got Sixers news that might just crack open the code to a problem that's been driving you crazy. And here's the challenge for you. As you're watching this, try to figure out exactly which player I'm talking about. Drop in the comments the exact moment you realized who it was, and let's see how many of you catch on before I reveal it later. Think about it for a second. You've seen this team spend big money, you've seen trades change the entire direction of the franchise, and you've seen frustration pile up because the front office doesn't move fast enough. You know that pain, right? When you feel like the Sixers are just one step away from being complete, but something keeps dragging them back? That's exactly what's happening right now. And here's the promise I'm making you. By the time we're done here, you'll see the solution that could turn this whole free agency headache into a golden opportunity for the future. Because here's the truth. You're not wrong to feel anxious about this. The summer isn't over until every last detail is in place. And yet, despite all the signings, despite the roster already feeling stacked with stars like Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and the new wave of talent like VJ Edgecombe and Jared McCain, there's still this unresolved tension. It's like waiting for the final piece of a puzzle, and until it's set, you can't enjoy the full picture. You've probably been asking yourself, how can the Sixers be this close, yet still be stuck in the mud? It feels like you're reliving the same pain every year, a team with so much promise, but slowed down by decisions that should have been handled weeks ago. But here's the kicker. This time, there's an answer, and it might be simpler than you think. See, other teams across the league are facing the same dilemma. You look at Golden State, you see how they're dealing with one of their young restricted free agents, and suddenly the Sixers situation makes a whole lot more sense. You realize you're not alone in this frustration, and that right there should give you hope. Because where there's a model to follow, there's a way forward. But let's not sugarcoat it. This tug of war has disrupted the Sixers' planning, both on and off the court. You know the frustration of watching preseason approaching, rosters being finalized, chemistry needing to be built, and yet one key decision is still hanging in the air. That uncertainty eats away at you, because you know the margins in this league are razor thin. And for you, as a fan, every move matters. The player at the center of this storm, he knows his value. After a breakout stretch last season, he's not about to accept less than he deserves. And can you blame him? You've watched enough basketball to know that when a guy shows flashes of becoming more than just a role player, he's earned the right to push for more. But here's the catch. The Sixers can't just hand over a long-term deal without tying their hands for the future. That's the pain point right there. You feel it, don't you? So where's the solution? It's in flexibility. It's in seeing this not as a roadblock, but as leverage. A short-term deal, a smart financial play, a way to lock down talent now while keeping doors open for trades down the line. That's the kind of strategy you've been begging the front office to embrace. Not just throwing money at the problem, but making calculated decisions that protect the team today and tomorrow. And here's why it matters to you. Because deep down, you don't just want this team to spend, you want them to spend wisely. You want to believe that every dollar, every roster spot, every trade is leading to the one thing you've been chasing your whole life, a Sixers championship parade down Broad Street. That's why the story is so important. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't just about today. This decision could determine how much leverage the Sixers have in trades come February, how much flexibility they keep for next summer, and even how quickly the young blood like McCain and Edgecombe can step into bigger roles. It's about the balance between rewarding talent and protecting the future. And you know that's a balance this team hasn't always gotten right. Now, here's where I need you to lean in, because the Sixers may have just stumbled upon a blueprint, an example from another franchise that shows exactly how to solve this standstill without blowing everything up. Imagine that, turning a headache into an advantage. Feels good, doesn't it? You've been through enough ups and downs with this team to know that nothing comes easy. But sometimes The best solutions aren't the flashy ones. Sometimes it's about patience, positioning, and keeping your options open. And that's what's on the line right now. So the question for you is this: are you ready to see how the Sixers can flip this mess into momentum? Because if you've been waiting for Sixers news that feels less like frustration and more like progress, this might just be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. And just remember, I'm still not telling you who the player is. Not yet. That's for later. For now, think hard about the hints, piece them together, and let me know in the comments the exact moment you figured it out. So here's where things get real. You've seen how this tug of war has dragged on, and you've probably thought to yourself, why can't the Sixers just close the deal already? And you'd be right to feel that way, because every day wasted is one less day building chemistry with the roster you already know can compete at the top of the East. You've seen this before. The Sixers finally make some big moves. Excitement builds. Fans like you start to believe, and one stubborn little contract dispute lingers like a dark cloud over training camp. That's the pain point you're feeling, and I know it cuts deep because you've lived it too many times. But here's the connection I want you to see. This isn't about indecision, it's about strategy. The front office knows that giving in to every demand now could lock the team into a corner later. And you, as someone who's watched years of salary cap gymnastics, you know that being patient now might be the only way to stay flexible for trades when the season really heats up. So let's talk solution. You've watched how Golden State is handling Jonathan Kuminga, right? A short-term, lucrative deal that satisfies the player but also keeps him as a movable trade asset. That's the model. That's the path. And for the Sixers, it could be the exact key to unlock this frustrating stalemate. Think about what that means for you as a fan. You don't just want a roster built for October. You want one built for April, May, and June. A smart deal now doesn't just fill a hole. It opens doors. It gives you leverage when the trade deadline comes. And it gives you flexibility for next summer's market. And in a league where timing is everything, that could make all the difference. But of course, not everyone will agree. Some of you watching probably think, just pay the guy and get it over with. Others might argue, no way. Don't overspend on someone who could be replaced by younger talent like Jared McCain or VJ Edgecombe down the line. That's the debate. And I want you to sound off in the comments. Do you agree with this patient, flexible approach? Or do you think the Sixers should lock him up no matter the cost? And here's where it gets controversial. Because while you want this guy in the rotation, making shots, defending, contributing every night, the harsh truth is that he might never be seen as untouchable. That's tough to swallow, isn't it? You've been conditioned to fall in love with potential, but you also know that sometimes potential is just another word for trade chip. But maybe that's exactly the point, because holding on to him now, even on a short-term deal, doesn't close the door. It keeps every option alive. Whether he becomes a part of a package for a star, or whether he outperforms expectations and earns a bigger payday down the line, the Sixers win either way. And isn't that the kind of smart, calculated play you've been begging this franchise to make for years? So here's my challenge to you. If you've been paying attention, you already know who I've been talking about all along. This standstill, this frustration, this unresolved contract, it's all about Quentin Grimes, the guy who showed flashes last season, the guy who deserves a raise, but the guy who also represents the balancing act between today's talent and tomorrow's flexibility. Now it's your turn. Do you buy into the strategy of a short-term deal to keep him happy and tradable? Or do you want the Sixers to give Quentin Grimes a long-term commitment and end the drama once and for all? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you made it this far, type the word BELIEVE so I'll know you're one of the real ones who stuck with me to the end. And before you go, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because every time Sixers news breaks, every trade rumor swirls, every contract dispute shakes this team, you're going to want to be the first to know. Stay connected, stay informed, and most importantly, stay ready, because the Sixers' next big move could be right around the corner.